There's also a thing here. There was this went around the country, Associated Press article, about a adoption group, the Evan B. Donaldson Adoption Institute, now going into the states and pushing for mandatory open adoption records and allowing people, even that had closed adoptions in years past, to be able to get their records opened up. Now, this is a pro-adoption group, right? We've seen this in the past, and my argument has always been that when you start seeing this, start looking at the groups pushing for it and see what their position on abortion is.
Right.
Because the hidden agenda here is they want to be able to sit down across the table from a young lady who's 15 years old and say, look, darling, you can get a secret abortion. You can't get a secret adoption.
Right.
If you place your baby for adoption instead of having an abortion, you might get a knock on the door 15 years from now when you're married with 2 other kids and a man doesn't know you had this baby. That's what this agenda is about. Evan B. Donaldson Adoption Institute is now pushing this. I went on their website. If you look on their related links to other groups, number 1 link, first link on the deal is Alan Guttmacher. Alan Guttmacher Institute, which is the research arm for Planned Parenthood. They also filed, has nothing to do with abortion, I guess, but they filed an amicus brief with the ACLU in a Florida case that would have required gays to be able to adopt. So this is obviously a left-wing group, and I don't know much about them other than what I found on their website.
Just so we can get it real plain, you are saying they want to insist that all adoptions be open adoptions.
You have to have open adoptions, right?
In other words, you cannot have no kind of adoption where it's not an open adoption,
right?
Where the child can't eventually just go right back.
Even if both people, the birth mom and the birth parents, both say, we want this to be a totally closed adoption.
So
the government's going to step in and say, no, you can't do that. Y'all got to know about each other.
The word choice here does not come into...
No.
You can't,
That's right. No, it does not.
Well, and the other side of that coin is that it discourages potential adoptive parents from adopting children. Yeah. Because what's the worst scenario? The worst scenario of an adopted situation is the baby comes and lives in the home for 1, 2, 3 years. They develop a strong bond, both the parents and the children, and then a lawsuit develops, and you see it all the time in the paper where the birth mom has a change of heart 3, 4, 5 years later, and they come in and they snatch that baby out of the family and they bring him back to a different situation.
But for a parent, it's worse. See, I'm going to adopt a child.
So am I.
Now, congratulations.
Y'all are both adopted?
Yeah. Now, mine was an open adoption because I was actually legally adopted by my mother's sister. And my mom has passed on since. And I know my natural mom. I even went to visit my natural mom, a couple of weeks ago. And we have a very loving relationship. But she also knows how much I love my mom that raised me. And I know from personal experiences what the most dangerous thing a parent that adopts a child is more afraid of is that one day that child will say, who is my mama? Who is my daddy? I want to go find them. I want to see them. And they know it. And if you do any kind of thing where people have to insist that it be open, 2 people are going to be affected. One, that mother who may not have wanted to ever see this child again for real.
Right.
For her it was a big thing to give up.
Right.
And then for the mother that adopted it, to have a child here who she's always going to think she's playing second fiddle to.
Right. Yeah.
It sets it up so you do exactly what you said.
Right.
Listen, honey, you can go ahead and get that abortion.
And nobody knows.
Nobody will know about it.
And it's over once and for all.
But unfortunately now,
and
if you
that's very appealing to a young girl trying to hide all of that, or
can be
married woman or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
I think Hitler called it the final solution.
Yeah, that's what this is all about.
I say choice is the best thing. I also know another person who was adopted, and it was not an open adoption. And she loves her parents to this day.
Yeah.
And there's no question.
I know one like that.
You do?
Wow. But my daughter, of course, is adopted, and she's always known it. Yeah. And we had a discussion with her not too long ago when she got to a certain age that if you want to try to find your birth mom, we'll help you, and et cetera. She doesn't want to, and the fact is, if you look at the national statistics, only about 5% of adopted people who don't know who their birth parents are ever seek them out.
Right.
They're perfectly happy being right where they are.
Right.
Planned Parenthood is going to try to step in here and say, no, we're going to screw up that system.
Right.
We're going to make sure that they always know, because again, it goes back to that confrontation where they're sitting down with this girl saying, darling, you can get a secret abortion. You do it today. It's over. You never have to think about it again. But if you have an adoption, you live with this for the rest of your life. You waiting for that knock on the door.